Elephant has been wanting to connect with her for years. I grew up knowing her a little bit in the Shambhala Buddhist community that Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche founded and his son Sakyong Mipam Rinpoche leads today. And as all of you know, 2 weeks ago, Dr. Reggie Ray is involved with. So Dr. Judith Simmer Brown has been chair of the Religious Studies Department at Naropa University. She's the author of a fantastic book, Dakini's Warm Breath. And she brings together a lot of different things which we're going to discuss in just a moment, so stay tuned. Dr. Judith Simmer Brown.
Thank you, Layla.
So again, don't be shy if you want some seats. Okay. Well, I feel just so open and radiant right now.
All healed.
Yeah. Yeah, my ego lately has been getting a lot of wounds, so I wish that it would heal and just fully manifest again. And
So you found your ego then?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I never really lost it. But so, Dr. Judith Simmer Brown, I am really genuinely honored. There's so many things we could talk about. You're very much involved in Buddhist-Christian dialogues, in the feminine principle, which I believe this book is about.
Yes.
And you also, I read online, it's a fantastic, for people who are familiar with the internets, I recommend you go onto the internets and check out this article that is there on it, and you can read it, that's about Buddhism and consumerism, which you know, something I, someone who sells ads for a living, am completely against, personally. So what would you like to talk about?
I leave it to you.
Well,
choose something.
Well, first of all, I am very attracted to the feminine principle. So is feminism the same thing? I'm guessing you're going to say it's not exactly the same thing, but how does that relate?
It's not the same thing, although I think a lot of people who've been drawn to looking at the feminine principle have come from some kind of feminism interest. Certainly that was true in my case.
Yeah.
But feminism has been primarily a political movement, and the feminine principle is an aspect of Tibetan Buddhism that Trungpa Rinpoche emphasized a great deal in her early years of teaching in the West. And I think it was a very skillful way to attract women like myself to really look at the Dharma. Mm-hmm. And at first, of course, I thought that maybe the feminine principle had something to do with feminism, but not exactly. The feminine principle, which he talked about all the time, as he said, is not feminism. It's not uniquely owned by women, although women have some particular capacity to radiate it and to connect with it, but so do men. Mm-hmm. The feminine principle has many different levels. On its most ultimate level, it's just the pure nature of mind. Mm-hmm. On I
don't know much about that.
You
personally
don't?
Speaking. No.
Whenever we practice meditation and when we rest our minds, we are resting in the nature of mind. And so that possibility is there in glimpses, a sense of just open, vast non-conceptuality.
So
that's it.
I'm sorry. So when we come in the practice of meditation, when we realize that we're thinking, we're caught up in our own ego or our own mind, and we come back to the present moment, whether through the breath or whatever
feminine
practice.
Principle, the present moment.
That's reality, that's the feminine principle. So, and I know the feminine principle is particularly associated with certain qualities, right? What are those qualities? Like
in the absolute level, it's just wide open space and non-conceptuality. But as it manifests in the world, it has to do with a kind of energetic heat and playfulness, mm-hmm. which is associated with the feminine in more broad senses. It has to do with intensity. Mm-hmm. It has to do with the ability to point to that vast non-conceptuality. And so that's where dakinis come in. Dakinis are female goddesses in the Tibetan tradition. Like on the
cover here, right?
Like here on the cover. They are not necessarily real women, although real women are also dakinis, but they're also visionary beings who have the ability to wake us up, shock us, and point to that non-conceptual quality of our experience that we might miss otherwise. And they do so often through unconventional means, usually not through concept, through some kind of trick.
Not rational mind.
Not rational mind. They have a way of tricking rational mind.
Right. I've noticed. No, I forgot.
There it is. There it is again.
What a night for me. Yeah. So, what I was going to say is, playfully in the Shambhala Buddhist community that Trungpa Rinpoche and the Sakyong Mipham Rinpoche kind of established, and Naropa, and the Buddhist teachings generally, in American vernacular, I know Trungpa Rinpoche enjoyed the phrase, women are crazy and men are stupid.
That's right.
What does that have to do with?
That was one of his quips, which we
I don't get it.
Basically, the way he talked about it is that there's masculine principle and feminine principle that are in a dance in our world. They're a kind of